4 major, groundbreaking, exciting new projects here in Orlando. We just got an announcement that here on one of the most major chains of lakes, the county just approved a marina to go into a 3,000 home community. Surprise, Orlando rents are plummeting at multiples higher than the national average. We're gonna cover that topic that just hit the news. And if you've been following the Northwest Corridor, where there is a ton of growth going right now at north of Apopka, kind of going towards Sorrento, a groundbreaking new project, very exciting, great size lots. We actually have multiple projects to talk about today where the builders are actually putting some beautiful lots, some quarter-acre plus being planned throughout the Orlando areas. This is stuff that people really want because, as you know, with the growth of all these marketplaces, the lots under the newer homes just seem to get narrower and smaller, and this demand is starting to be met, but you got to know where it's happening. Some recent new plans for the now defunct Area 15 that was coming downtown near the Orlando Premium Outlets. The developer on that project just announced what they're now planning to do here in 2025, moving into 26. So I want you to know what's happening there. So if you own a home here now, you're considering buying one in the near future, you need to know what's affecting residential values, and you particularly need to know the growth opportunities coming to the neighborhoods of Orlando. And if all that's for you, consider smashing the subscribe button so you don't miss any updates. And do me a huge favor, drop down below, smash the thumbs up, and let's get into the update. Recent top story, U.S. asking rents ended 2024 at the lowest level in nearly 3 years. Now, I'm forever flooded in the comments with people saying, you know what, every time we talk about rent, it is not down. It does not feel less. It still feels overpriced. So yes, it is down and it has been showing a consistent drop, but it is such a negligible movement that you almost can't see it at a graph. It's like, yay, it stopped growing, but it's not necessarily dropping in a tangible way. Look at what it said here in the lead headline. The median asking rent fell 0.3% year over year in December to $1,594, the lowest level since March 2022. Now look at this. Austin, Texas posted the biggest decline with asking rents down 16%. Look who it's followed by. Tampa, and then Jacksonville. Now, if you scroll down, they start to give us a headline for what's coming this year. It said, we're kicking off 2025 in a renter's market with many renters finding apartments cost less than a year ago, especially in the Sun Belt. Now, why is the Sun Belt seeing such a pullback? Well, understand that during the COVID era, there was a massive inbound migration to the southern states. When people could kind of decide where they wanted to work, a lot of people moved across Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina, Texas. All these states became flooded with people moving here. At the same time, around 2 to 3 years ago, there was a massive spike in multifamily and apartment building new permit pulling. And now we're seeing the product of that because the peak of the release of those happened in the end of 2024. So now all these buildings go up, all these property managers get tasked with these big empty buildings. They say, hey, you got to fill these really, really fast. So they start offering free rent, incentives, and all that kind of stuff. You can see Orlando, Florida, if we scroll down, is $1,715 a month for the median. Its median is down 2% year over year. Now look at, again, Jacksonville, negative 6%. You got to understand, anything 2% and up is going to put your marketplace in the top 10 in terms of its falling apartment rent. So Orlando is probably in the top 10, 12, 13 of all markets in the country in terms of its rents are coming down. Now, do not get too excited, renters, if you're looking for a single family home, because in my personal purview, and I've looked very closely recently, I would imagine you're not seeing much of a softening because a lot of the rental announcement of what we're watching and what we're measuring is a lot of this happening in the apartment sector. Now, the question becomes, if all these people that come to Florida and Orlando specifically want to migrate into apartments, are they not going to rent a house they had planned because the apartment's rent is so much more appealing? Does that starve the demand a little bit for the housing structures? Could. And honestly, we got to see what happens because really we're going to be releasing a lot more apartments in the Orlando metro over the next 18 months, and then it's going to subside dramatically. But what's really happening is a lot of buildings are being completed, they're being released to the market, and those have to be filled. Then ultimately what happens, there's a lot of pressure on the apartment managers to get people in the doors. Once that thing's producing volume, they're going to let the rents probably stabilize over time. But right now it's kind of a free-for-all in terms of offering a lot of goodies and things of that nature to get these places rented out and underway as new buildings. All right, now I teased this a little bit in the intro. This is a wild project, and this one's been talked about for several years. but it looks like it might be seeing the light of day. Look at this, state approves lease for new marina on Lake Toho. Now the project we're talking about is on Osceola's West Lake Tohopekaliga here in Florida. Locals fondly call this Lake Toho. The cabinet has approved a lease dredging for a new permit that can serve boats up to 45 feet long. Now the goal here is to create a 174 slip marina to serve Fontana Lakes, which is a master plan community. You can see down here in the map below. This community is going to run along Florida's Turnpike. It is off of Friars Cove Road. A lot of growth, a lot of new construction. You can see kind of shaded out that all this area around this new neighborhood is all pasture. Just huge amounts of pasture and rural people like living across the street with 5-10 acre pieces. And this is going to be a lot of growth for this area if it fully gets underway. Now, the owner of this property, who's been working on this, I think since around 2014, has been just taking it step by step, biding his time, because this is almost 700 acres and he's needed some commitments along the way, because for him, he sounds like a smaller guy. He's not a huge player in the local market. So he kind of needed some infrastructure to move this way. But this is a huge advantage because that means there's going to be a public boat ramp. There's going to be associated amenities. So it sounds like some of these features will actually serve the area in general. Okay, that's going to put more traffic on Lake Toho, which again is an enormous lake. It's not like that's a small body of water. And there's going to be a boosted economic impact, obviously, for St. Cloud. Many of you that live in St. Cloud, I think it's well beloved. I sell a lot in St. Cloud, and folks that are there that have been there for 5 years since I've sold a property, they love it. However, I think they'll probably have the same Claremont lament. They're like, whoa, it's growing. Maybe there's a little too many people here, but there's a lot of room. I mean, this is still rural. This is not the most dense area of the Orlando metro, but what do you think? How do you think this will benefit all of Orlando? And do you think this will actually see the light of day? Because obviously this has been 10 years in the making. Will it get through? And what do you think of this new project? Need to buy or sell fast? Make one call, that's all, and put my 23 years of experience and nearly 4,000 satisfied home sales to work for you.
Jared Jones is the way to go. Call 706-5000.
Now, I teased this particular neighborhood on the way in the intro. Lennar planning an Apopka subdivision on Plymouth Sorrento Road. This area is rapidly growing. I just sold a 2,400 square foot home on 5 acres in this area in the mid sixes, which is crazy value when you see how much the builders own here and are investing. And ultimately you can see the story unfolding, because this has been a sleepy town. This area from north side of Apopka going towards Sorrento, it is sleepy no more. Now, if you want to live here in a rural sense, I wouldn't be too bashful about that. There's plenty of areas around these newer subdivisions that are going to be fully kept to themselves. They're not going to be massively shifting zoning right across the street from you in most cases. However, again, there's a lot of growth and there's a lot of use change and stuff like that. But look at this neighborhood. Lennar wants to build single family homes. This is a 40-acre plot that they own. It will have 86 homes. Think about the mix of that. 41 acres sharing 86 properties. That's about a half acre per house. Right off the bat, you can tell this is going to be a good mix for the neighborhood. But the plans are going to call for homes with 1,600 square feet all the way up. Probably, I would imagine they're going to have homes in this community around 3,100, 3,300 feet, something like that. Kind of common for Lennar, but they will have 1,600 foot homes. You imagine a 1,600 foot home on nearly a quarter acre in some of these. The minimum lot size is 8,000 feet, okay? Easy for a pool size lot, easy for good sized backyards, kind of what you're seeing developing here. And you can see here, where is this, Jared? This is off of 429, go to Kelly Park Road, hook a left by the Publix there on Plymouth Sorrento. This area is kind of folding in to where all these other communities are being built. You're not going to want to own at the backside of this because it does border the 429. But in all likelihood, Lennar is smart. They're probably going to put, some water features, some big borders in between the highway and the neighborhood itself. So lots of interesting things. There's a lot going on at Lennar's planned subdivision here, but also you have wild oaks which will be located nearby, 230 acres at Kelly Park Road and Golden Gym Road. At full build out, this will have 4,000 multifamily residential, 2 hotels, 2 parks, a music comedy performance venue, a farmer's market, 1.5 million square feet of industrial space. So there is going to be a massive amount of downtown area coming for all of these homes. The development will consist of 200,000 square feet of commercial space, which will also include 25,000 square feet for grocery store, convenience, coffee, craft brew, gym, multiple restaurants. There you go. Because you're going, Jared, I see all these neighborhoods filling up. They have a Publix and a Papa John's. It's so true, but it's growing. And obviously they could go to Mount Dora, Eustis up the road. These things aren't too far away as it is. But as you can imagine, with the growth on Plymouth Sorrento, there is more coming. And this, my friends, is a busy, burgeoning future for the northwest part of the Orlando Metro. I can help you if you're looking to buy there. It is an amazing spot. You got a lot of east-west egress to the downtown area for Orlando. You've got a strip, you go straight to Disney World from here. It's not a terrible drive. So just I like this area for the future. Excellent. And I like the fact that you can actually get land under your house again for new construction. All right, now an update to the famed Area 15 site that got sidelined in 2024. In fact, it got thrown completely off the draft table. A lot of folks were really, really excited about this. Tell you what this is. This is a 17-acre site that's over near the Orlando Premium Outlets, right off the side of Disney World. It's a little southwest, I believe, of SeaWorld. It's in that area. Orlando Premium Outlets are there. Cheesecake Factory. We got a White Castle, Raising Cane's. Like all these new site locations for the Orlando Metro show up in this particular area because massive tourist center. Now, Area 51, for all that it was allotted for, was a project. And these developers that were planning on building this out came from Vegas. Obviously, the play on words, right? Area 51, Area 15. And then I guess I've never seen it in person over in Vegas because it came around 2017 or 2018. I've just never seen it. This particular venue, I guess, was like containers and all this kind of stuff. Long story short, the developers came back to the table and threw some updated plans that they're looking for a proposal for something called the Kingsland Grande development, which will then become a hotel. So we went from immersive experience, entertainment complex, which I think honestly would have done really well in this area, to basically more hospitality for more hotels, which will also probably do really well too. It also would not surprise me if maybe this one has a timeshare bend where you can have fractional ownership. A lot of different buildings in this particular area kind of go that route because it's very easy to find people to tour them and sell them off fractional ownership. So I will keep you updated. We see more updates on exactly what this hotel will look like because so far they just put the plans through, but the information is quite limited, and I'll keep you up to date on that. If you're in the Central Florida area and you're looking for a great church, I'd love for you to join me at the Grove Bible Chapel. Just visit joinmeatthegrove.com for full details. When you're buying or selling a home, the process itself can feel overwhelming. When this happens, you need a real estate expert that can turn this around for you. So all you need to do, make one call, that's all, and put nearly 4,000 homes sold and my 23 years of experience to work for you.
Jared Jones is the way to go. Call 706-5000.